Hey everybody, how is it going? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm just going to be going over some of the trades that I made today and what I am seeing in the overall market and where I expect it to go from here. Now, before I get started, as always, everybody, please remember I am not a financial advisor. All of this is just my opinion and for entertainment purposes only. Please make all of your own trading decisions. All right, well, I'm going to get right into the market averages to start out this video just because I think we could be at a little bit of a tipping point. Right here I have the QQQs up, which of course is the ETF for the NASDAQ. Actually, it's starting to turn red as I am making this video. I've just been noticing a lot of weakness in the market today and a little bit yesterday, and I'm starting to see a lot of breakouts that are failing. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if this little move is getting tired right here and we start pulling back maybe for the next couple of days or so. Now, I don't think this is going to be a big rollover in the market, but I do think that we are way extended, and a healthy pullback would not be bad at all. But just looking at the Qs, you can tell they're starting to roll over. And let me see if I can get this to work. There we go. If we look at the spider, same exact thing, starting to go almost red as I'm making this video. And looking at the Dow Jones, see the Dow Jones has reversed. It's not red yet, but definitely a big reversal in the Dow. Now, normally when I start seeing a lot of breakouts failing and the market is still strong, usually the market tends to start rolling over not long after. So when I start seeing a lot of breakouts failing, that's when I try to get you know, a little bit more cautious in what I'm doing. Maybe start taking a little bit of money off the table. And let's just take a look at the IWM one more time. This one is having that beautiful breakout that I've been waiting for. I've been talking about it for months. Now, if the IWM can pull back and, you know, find support at this support area right around, you know, 234-ish, and then start to move back up, I think that's going to be a great sign for the overall market. I mean, we are overdue for a pullback. If we can get a pullback for, you know, 2 or 3 days and then get a retest of this level on the IWM with a nice green candle coming off it, I think that is going to be a great sign for the overall market, and I'm definitely going to put a little bit more risk on if that happens. But just by talking about the overall market, I actually started a position in the SQQQ to take advantage of a potential drop in the market. It's only a small position, so if the market does not drop, not that big of a deal. You know, I have other long positions on that are more than going to make up for what I'm going to lose on this one. This is just a little bit of a hedge, but if the SQQQ or if the overall market does drop, you know, the SQQQ should have a decent size move up, so I should be able to make a little bit of money on the weakness in the market if we get it. But yeah, just put a little bit of a hedge trade on in the SQQQ. Well, let's get into some of those other trades. All right, well, I got some good news and I got some bad news for the portfolio. And even though custom dictates you render the bad news first, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get right into the good trades. And the first one I want to talk about is the day trade I made today, and that was on OnTrack Incorporated, ticker symbol OTRK. This one, I believe, came out with some really good earnings, and it was trading strong pre-market. So what I want to do is just keep an eye on the trading for the first 15 minutes. And if it is strong in the first 15 minutes, I want to buy on a breakout of that range. So let's go to the 5-minute chart, and I'll show you a little bit closer what I was looking at. See, we had this gap up and then it just continued to remain strong. So I personally don't like to buy it till after the high of the 15 minutes is you know, breached. Some people like to do it on the high of 5 minutes. You know, if you had that as your trade signal, your buy signal, you probably would have done a heck of a lot better than I did. But I got in on the break of the 15-minute high, so I got in at $12.85 right here. And I was down just a little bit, a few minutes into it, but I ended up selling out at $13.89 for a decent little gain. I probably could have squeezed out some more. Actually, the high was $14.79, so I could have squeezed out almost another dollar. So I would have made about double if I would have called it absolutely perfectly. But in these trades, I'm just trying to catch a quick momentum move. And you can see if I was still holding on to it, you know, this thing just ended up fading. And so many of these trades end up doing that. You know, it'll be strong for the first, say, 20-30 minutes or so, and then it'll just kind of roll over. Sometimes you get one that just runs the whole day, but those are few and far between. I'm just trying to catch the meatiest part of the the most probable move. So that one was a decent trade on OTRK. And yeah, as we can see by this chart, I am glad I did not hold on to that one, or I would definitely be down right now. But just a nice little trade on OTRK. All right, let's get to the next one. All right, the next one I want to get into is actually another profitable trade that I decided to close out today. I just kind of closed it out today just because I think the market is in danger of potentially rolling over, like I was mentioning before, and I kind of have a little bit too much risk on than I am comfortable with, so I wanted to dial it back just a little bit. So even if the market does turn around and go up, still going to be okay, but I've been in this one for, geez, maybe 3 weeks or so. So this is one of the longer swing trades that I usually stay into just because it's been kind of a slow mover. And this one is Canoe Incorporated, ticker symbol GOEV. This is another EV car company. And if you guys have never heard of this company, you should go check out their product. It's strange to say the least. It has a face only a mother could love, but really cool functionality. I mean, it could definitely going to have a market, I would say, in the future, but I don't know, kind of strange looking, but it's cool at the same time. So definitely go check that out if you want to see an interesting, different type of vehicle. But getting back to this trade, I bought this one on October 13th for $7.15. So I bought it on the breakout right back here. Actually, let me go to the 15-minute chart, show you a little bit more of what I was doing when I bought it. I was looking at it right here on this breakout. Starting to make this rounded bottom breakout, and the market was, geez, if this thing would work, the market was starting to turn around, so I wanted to get long something. GOEV was looking pretty good, and so were some of the other EV stocks that were looking good, so I got in at $7.15, sold out today at $8.60. You can see we're starting to get a little bit of a rounded top formation. I wouldn't call it a rounded top just yet. I mean, this thing could easily end up breaking above this high at 874 and continuing higher, because after all, we are still in this uptrend. But it's starting to get a little bit weak. I've been noticing the price action the last couple days has been it hasn't been the strongest compared to some other stocks out there. So I figured I would trim this one and take my gain. I made it a little bit over 715 to 860. So what is that, about 25% ish? So not a true gangbusters trade, but decent trade nonetheless. But GOEV looks like it might be starting to round down, but still in an uptrend. So who knows? If the market does turn around and head higher, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if GOEV continues to move up. But pocketed that gain, and I'm gonna wait and see what the market does before I start opening some more longs. But let's get into the bad now. All right, the first loser I want to talk about is Smile Direct Club. I talked about this one a couple of videos ago. I was talking about how I wanted to buy some $6 calls on them, and I did end up buying the $6 calls after I got done making that video. And unfortunately, they did not work out. I mean, I bought it when the stock was breaking out of this rounded bottom. I was hoping to get another push up, but it just could not get past that 50-period simple moving average and has been fading ever since. And I think the market was, starting to get a little weak as well, get a little tired, so I think that might have had a part in it as well. But hey, this was a a high risk, low probability trade. The chances of this one working out were pretty slim, but if it did work out, it was going to pay off big. That's the trade-off. But unfortunately, this one did not work out. Let's actually go to the 15-minute chart, and I'll show you what I was looking at when I took this trade. This is what I was seeing right here. I was looking at this little breakout that it was starting to have. Unfortunately, it failed. Had this breakout move here. Once it pulled back into support, this is when I purchased those $6 calls. But unfortunately, it found absolutely no support. You can see there was hardly any bounce at all, and then it just kind of fell into back into this little consolidation. So this could be the false breakout right here. If this thing continues to meander sideways and gets another breakout, this could be that false breakout move that I like to see when I buy these rounded bottom formations. I usually like to see if there's one false breakout before it has another breakout. There's a strong possibility of that second breakout following through. There's usually a higher probability of the second breakout following through. But this one I took a chance on because it looked like momentum was really starting to pick up. And Smile Direct Club, when it gets going, this thing can really start moving. So Perhaps my greed got the best of me on this one, because I was thinking if we got another fast move up in Smile Direct Club, those options would have paid quite well. But like I said, I paid 6 cents a piece for them, and I only bought 25 of them, so it wasn't that big of a trade. You know, it's really not going to hurt me. But unfortunately, it did not work out. I'm just going to let them expire worthless. It's not really going to be worth it to pay that commission to close those out, I don't think. So unless this thing just gets an unbelievable scream higher, which I will not argue if that does happen, chances are these things are going to expire worthless. It's going to be a total loss. But let's get into the next one. All right, the last one I want to talk about is UAVS, and this one, I haven't lost money on it yet, but I'm probably going to close this one out before the trading day is over, just because it looks like it's starting to fail anyway. So it'll be just a small loss. I have my stop loss put in at $2.79. Hasn't quite hit it just yet, or at least not as I am making this video, but this one's probably going to end up being a small loss. I'll just take the small loss off the table, you know, preserve the capital, and when the market looks like it's going to be turning around, you know, I'll probably put a little bit more risk on. And by the way, I'm not going to have any potential trades set up in this video. I'm not going to show any longs if I think the market could be rolling over. You know, I was talking about the SQQQ trade, but not going to have any other long setups in this video. But if you do want to know what we are buying and selling in real time, I do have a Patreon group that is only $10 a month. The link is down there in the description. I probably should be plugging that when I'm going over the winning trades. It's not very compelling when you're showing the losing trades. So if you want to follow along with my losing trades, it's only $10 a month. Come on in. The water is fine. No, but seriously, we do make a lot of good trades in there. So if you want to learn how to trade, it's only $10 a month. But let's get into the 15-minute chart on UAVS. Oh, and by the way, if you don't mind liking the smash button while we're on the subject, it supposedly helps out the channel. Either way, I do appreciate it. That's definitely a way you can help out the channel by not spending $10 a month, but I appreciate that if you do that for me. But getting into this trade, like I said, I have my stop loss set up at $2.79. Actually, it's kind of a little bit of ways away from this low right here. I wanted to be just a little bit below it. But I got in on this little second breakout here, I believe. But unfortunately, you know, this thing just didn't find any traction and rolled over. And looking at this chart, I probably should have gotten rid of this as soon as it broke this trend line. But I wanted to give it just a little bit more room, you know, in case the market did turn around and get strong again. But, you know, this thing just continued to fade. So I should have went with my gut and just cut my losses even smaller. But this is a very small position. So even this loss is going to be really small. But I do think I'm going to end up closing this position out before the end of the day, because I think the chances of this thing you know, breaking it above this resistance level at just over $3 a share is probably pretty slim right now. And I'll just wait. You know, I'll wait for this thing to, you know, show a little bit more strength and you know, jump in on another breakout, because there's no law that says you cannot buy back into a stock after you sold it. You know, buy back in when the coast is clear and when you know, when there's danger. Just close it out, and if you really like the stock, once it starts to turn back up, you can always jump back in. But yeah, it looks like UAVS, unfortunately, is going to be another small loser. All right, well, before I close out the video, I just want to quickly show you some of the stocks that were on my watch list that began to fail, just to show you a little bit what I'm talking about when I start seeing some of these stocks that either start to break out and roll over, or, you know, don't even make it to that breakout point and then start to roll over. You know, I start to get a little bit cautious when I'm seeing that, because usually you get some follow through to the downside. So when I start seeing that in a lot of stocks on my watch list, I start trimming some positions and start being more cautious in my trading. But the first one I want to talk about is Palantir. I actually hold some of these shares for the long haul that I have no interest in selling for quite a while. But if the stock starts to make an interesting pattern, you know, I don't mind buying some options, or maybe buying a little bit more stock and trading around that pattern. But looking at this pattern on Palantir, you can see it was making a nice little bullish triangle formation, and I thought for sure we were probably going to get a breakout above this resistance area. So I contemplated buying some $27 calls that were expiring today. I actually contemplated buying those a couple days ago. Glad I didn't do it, because it didn't look like it was all that strong. But going to the 15-minute chart, You can see it just a little bit better. It was definitely winding up. It was pretty sloppy, but it was definitely getting close to breaking out. This is when I really started to get interested right here. But because the overall market and some other things that I was watching, they just they weren't showing a ton of strength. So I just laid off this trade, and that one was actually a good choice going with my gut, because you can see Palantir has rolled over and broke this trend line that I have on the stock. So it doesn't mean the stock is going to completely crash. It just might need a little bit more time in this consolidation area before we get that breakout. But, I'm starting to see a lot of this going on with stuff on my watch list. So that makes me want to be cautious. The next one that I was talking about in a previous video was Rocket Companies, Rocket Mortgage. And this one I contemplated buying on this breakout, but I wasn't seeing a whole heck of a lot of strength in other things on my watch list. So I laid off that one. And you can see that was a fake out and or a bull trap. And this thing just rolled right over. Going to that 15-minute chart. You can see that it was a pretty weak breakout as well, and it just really didn't go anywhere, so I laid off it. And you can see this thing really rolled over. I bet there was several people, or quite a few people, that were trying to play this breakout, and once they sent it down, that just triggered a bunch of stop losses. But Rocket Company rolled over. Let's see what else I had on my watch list. I was watching Progenity. Progenity had this nice little break of this trend line. That's when I considered getting in. Let's go to that 15-minute chart so we can see it a little bit better. Had a nice breakout of this trend line, and it started to make a really nice triangle formation. And then it had this sharp breakout. I considered getting in on this breakout, but like I said, everything on my watch list wasn't instilling a whole heck of a lot of confidence. And you can see Progenity rolled right back over. Now it has broken through that support area and has even broken this trend line that I have on the stock, or I have on the chart. So I mean, just another failed breakout. This one on Progenity, and just a lot of weakness in the overall market. And before I close it out, I wasn't really watching this one today, but just showing you how weak some things are acting today. Nikola was in a previous video, and you can see that thing looked super strong yesterday, but what do we have today? A complete reversal all the way down to that 8-period exponential moving average, just a big nasty red candle. So just tons and tons of weakness out there. When you start seeing a lot of this, guys, especially after an extended move up, I usually try to get cautious. Now, if you start seeing this after an extended move down, that could be capitulation to the downside. But once you see this just starting after some extended moves up, that is usually not my cue to start buying. I mean, you guys can do whatever you want. And by the way, I'm not a financial advisor, all that stuff. Please make your own trading decisions. But normally when you see something like this, that is not my signal to start buying again. Okay, everyone, that is all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions or comments on any of these stocks, or if you have any other ones you want me to take a look at, please leave it down there in the comments section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.